What's up, guys? This is Showtime's Fight Form. You already know what it is. This is your boy Showtime. Make sure you follow me on all social medias at Showtime Sanders. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. So first, let me say thank you guys for watching. For the people who have been staying true, to the people who just started watching. I started a year ago. You know, I had around 50 people watching, and now getting over 100. Like, you know, some of my joints has dropped and have hit over 200, and thank you. Let's just keep this thing going, and let's start the likes in the comments, man. Like, so once again, I want to get to actually know you guys, want to talk to you guys, want to debate with you guys. So, boop, boop. Hold on, let's get this whole thing going. Boop, boop. All right, there we go. So, the bigger you guys make it, the better my life will be, and honestly, the more discussion we can have. So, I appreciate it. Now, let's go ahead and get right to the nitty gritty. And today, we're going to talk about boxing. And it was a very fun weekend. We had Stephen Fulton who fought, and he became a champion, well, undisputed champion, and he's fighting nothing but dogs. He looked great, looked phenomenal. It was class. It was a very masterclass performance. But that wasn't the fight most people was talking about. The big fight that everybody really wanted to talk about was Devin Haney. And I mean, he's starting to get the buzz of casuals now, where people are really starting to tune in to him and who he is. And I mean, let's do a little recap of who Devin Haney is. Devin Haney is an African-American fighter. He started fighting pro at 17. He's trained by his dad. And he started fighting out in Mexico, because obviously you have to be 18 in order to fight professionally here. He didn't even do the Olympic route. He was like, nah. And honestly, I'm actually cool with that, just because the Olympics rob Americans all the time. And at the end of the day, you don't even want to put your kid through that. Cool. Go ahead and start getting the experience. And Canelo, he's kind of like a Luka, where he had the curve of being able to fight these guys professionally at 16. This man already was getting professional fights, and Mexican fighters are very tough fighters. So it's not like he went down there, and I mean, I'm not saying they were the world beaters, but he didn't just go out there and just fight who's who. Like, he fought really tough guys, and being 17 years old to do that is very scary and very tough. But went through the ranks, and he became a regular champion belt. Some people call it email champion, because he didn't necessarily win the belt. Lomachenko just didn't fight him and wanted to fight somebody else, so they just gave him the belt afterwards. However, that wasn't his fault. That was Lomachenko's. So, yet still, he finally earned his right to fight for the, in reality, it was the undisputed championship, but whatever. And he fought George Kambosos, who we all know is an Australian guy who upset Teofimo Lopez, who a lot of people thought was lucky and all this other bull stuff. Yet and still, these guys finally met, and we had an undisputed champion at 135. Something that everybody wanted to see. A lot of people there. They said it was over 40,000 people, which is ridiculous. I had people who was hitting me up asking me how to tune in. Some people thought it was a pay-per-view fight. So that just goes to show, man, there was buzz around there, and Haney starting to get his name up there. I also didn't know he was dating India Love. That's kind of interesting. Would never expected that, but hey, you know, whatever. To each his choice. She's a beautiful woman. I get it. This man, I mean, what can you say that was negative towards Devin Haney outside the fact that some people don't find him interesting, which is something I'll talk about a little bit later. But for people who love boxing, people who love to see a person hit and not get hit, person that strategizes, person that utilizes footwork, getting hit and not getting hit. I mean, it was it wasn't flawless, but it was as close to flawless as you could possibly get. I personally scored it 10 rounds to 2. I thought that at max you can give him was 3 rounds. I thought like 4 rounds is really pushing it. 3 rounds was, in my opinion, max. And I thought the second round, George Kambosos came out really strong. I thought he came out well. Then one of the mid rounds started to put some of these combinations together and started to squeak some rounds. But realistically, he did nothing. He barely landed. His offense was non-existent. He couldn't get in range, and when he was in range, he was hitting nothing but air or glove. Devin Haney was just controlling him with his jab. And some people wanted to make it seem like it was just a jab. Like, let's cut this out, man. Like, it wasn't just a jab. Fighters can get through a jab if it was just a jab. It was also the footwork mixed in with the jab. The fact that also when he was playing it, and George tried to go in, he would still get hit. Not with just a jab, it would be a 2 or it'd be an uppercut. He would still get caught with something coming in. And then guess what? Devin Haney would go right out. Devin Haney would go out. It was a masterclass. I mean, it just showed there's levels to this. It made George honestly look more. It made him look fluke. Let's keep it a stack. It made him look like what he did to Teofimo Lopez was more of an aberration, not necessarily who he is as a fighter. going into the fight, I had Devin Haney winning. I thought that the only way Devin Haney will win this fight, because it was in Australia, was if he dominated, and he did. And also, those scorecards kind of showed that if he didn't dominate, he was going to get screwed. That's boxing. As much as you can love boxing, everybody that loves boxing knows it's the most corrupt sport in all sports. There is no sport worse than boxing when it comes to judging. So I'm happy to that how the fight played out. I thought it was a really good fight. I thought it was a fun fight for me. I love to see a person that, like, unless you get in the ring, you actually spar with somebody and you actually box with somebody, and you realize how hard it is to do what Devin Haney just did to a really good fighter, then you'll show appreciation for it. Now you have some people like the haters, like the Ryan Garcia, just like, it's boring, this, that, and the third, and I get it, but at the same time, styles are different. Like, you have to be able to like multiple things if you're watching a sport. I don't want to be a type of person just like one thing. I don't want to just see knockouts. Like, yes, that's amazing, but I also want to see some good technique. I also want to see a person that's very defensively sound. I want to see these crash courses come together and see what's the best style. And that's what we saw. Well, at the end of the day, we knew we wasn't gonna see a knockout. Devin Haney doesn't knock people out. He don't have punching power. George Gamboa don't knock people out. It wasn't happening regardless. So know what you're getting into also. Google, YouTube, watch these guys fight, and then say, all right, these guys ain't knocking each other out. I don't want to watch it. Fair. But if you came in there expecting that, you're tripping, because neither one of them have power. Now, what's next for Devin Haney? Obviously, it's going to have to be a rematch. They're both going to rematch each other. Is it what we want? Heck no. That is no. Nobody wants to see it, except for maybe Australia. I don't even think Australia want to see that fight after what happened. It wasn't close. Who cares? And we need to start putting these daggone in these contracts saying, look, if you get knocked out, especially if you get knocked out in the first 6 rounds, you ain't getting no rematch. If you get dominated to the point where you only win 3 rounds, you don't get a rematch. This is like, we need to move on, man. We got to keep this division going. There's a lot of fighters in here that's getting jam-packed. We have the Tanks. We have the freaking the Cruzes. We have Lomachenko. We have Ryan Garcia. We have so many fighters in this one weight class. Shakur's possibly coming up. We got people coming up that is ready for a title shot. We don't need to see this again. I'm sorry, but unfortunately, we will. If I had it my way, I would sit here and say Devin Haney needs to fight Lomachenko. Devin Haney and Lomachenko should be the next fight. Tank should fight Ryan Garcia. I've already stated this. Worst case, maybe Tank fight George Gamboa, but I don't think that Tank really should get a Devin Haney fight next. Sure, everybody wants to see that. A penetrable person who has amazing power versus a technician who's hard to hit. Woo, I get it. But yet and still, Lomachenko should be next. Sorry, because at the end of the day, he was champion. He did lose his belt to Teofimo, and he did get, what, 2 dubs now? Dominant dubs? He needs to be next. But yeah, like I said, for Devin Haney, the last thing I'll say about him is, while he is an amazing fighter, I personally will, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think he will personally be a superstar in the sport. And the reason why is specifically because of his style. Yeah, some people could bring up Floyd, but once again, just look up Floyd. Floyd wasn't always like that. Floyd started to become defensive later in his career. When he was pound for pound king, when he first became pound for pound king, he was a little bit more action oriented. So once again, we got to stop with these, like, comparing people to Floyd. Devin Haney's not Floyd. Devin Haney doesn't have power that Floyd has. I'm not saying Floyd is a super power puncher, but Floyd legit does have power that will make you cautious. Yeah, I can't keep doing this. I might get punched. I might get hurt. Devin Haney, he's also not as defensively sound too. He's very defensively sound, but Floyd is all-time great. So I don't think he has that. I personally don't think he has the personality or the style to really consistently bring casuals over. Tank has that. He doesn't have the personality, but he damn sure has the action. So yeah, I think that's the only, if I had a nitpicky, is that people aren't going to be friendly of his style. I have friends, plenty of people saying that fight sucked. I don't agree. I'd love to fight. However, you're going to have plenty of people who think that because they're too used to watching YouTube Mike Tyson highlights. So unfortunately, that's the world we live in. They don't want people who are great at their craft. They want people that knock each other out. That's the name of the game. So yeah, tell me guys what you guys think as always. What's next? What would the fight you prefer? I know a lot of people want Tank, but I want to know, like, is it really Tank, or do y'all want to see Lomachenko, or do you want to see Teofimo Lopez come back down? Because in my opinion, another thing, I don't like how some of these fighters are losing and then saying, oh, you know, I'll just still go up. Nah, bro, like, get that dub back, man. Get that L back. You need to. It means a lot. Teofimo, you should have fought Kambosos again. And then went up. Josh Taylor, who you can say lost his last fight, talk about going back up. No, bro, go back down, rematch this man. Because that's what these fighters do. That's what real fighters do. Oh, you beat me? Cool. I'm gonna fight you again. Oh, you thought you beat me? Oh, it was close? Let me fight you again. Floyd did it. Sugar Ray Robinson did it. Like, Ali did it. So many fighters do it. You need to do it as well. Stop brushing these joints off like it's nothing. But that's me going to a whole nother rant. I might make a video about that later. But thank you guys for watching. As always, you already know who it is. Your boy Showtime. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And thank you for watching.